Rick's
Yeah.
down, like right down the road. I know they do it.
Sorry. Happy fingers. No. Two. We're good to go? All right. I call the October 28th, 2025 meeting of Park Board order. Consider motion approval of minutes from the September 9th, 2025 Park Board meeting. Do we have a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First item on the agenda is the re-election of board member office positions. So how do we start this?
So it's just it was in reference to a mistake that was made in that one meeting, so you guys can just pick back up there on electing the vice president, or however you guys would like to do it. You can start with a motion, or it's your guys' preference. It would take a motion to do anything anyway, so that's really where it's at.
So we're doing all the positions all over?
That's your, I think the discrepancy was on the vice, so I would recommend you just do that, but that's completely.
All right.
I motion to nominate Tracy Newcomer for vice president.
I motion for Jake Swisegood.
No, is it like a vote? I don't know what we're doing.
So do we need to,
We need more than one motion, right?
Yeah, you'll need a second, and then you'd have to vote.
I'll second for Jacobs was good.
We have a motion of first and the second. All in favor say aye.
aye?
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion of priority budget items for 2026. First item is farmer's market. The next is the playground shade structure. And the third item is the dog park.
So this is kind of complicated in a way. The farmer's market, for example, there's quite a bit to it. So just for example, I got a cost of like what a 40 by 60 shelter house installed is. The company gave 3 different sizes just because it's out of their generic book. And this is the installed, doesn't count the concrete or picnic tables or anything like that. $161,000 for a 40 by 60. 40 by 80 was $203,000. A 30 by 72 was $159,000. And those are kind of the standard. And then you can get smaller. We can get much smaller. That's just some numbers for you to consider. I would recommend with that kind of an investment, we probably really should look at site improvements, some type of study where we've had an architect do a layout drawing. This company is they sell these shelter houses. They did the one in Raymore. They used that farmer's market and turned it into a skating rink during the winter. So it's something, I don't know if so there's, sky's the limit, but the more you want to do there, the more it's going to cost, and better planning you ought to have up front if you want to do more to it.
You mean like an ice skating rink in the winter?
Oh, I'm sorry?
They turn into like an ice skating
In the
rink
wintertime, right, yeah. I haven't looked into the details as far as what the insurance requirements are, what that additional cost is, the pros and cons to it. We can look into that information for you. It's,
Just clarifying, is this like completely closed in, or you're talking like just roof shelter posts?
so here's a picture.
Okay.
So it's just something like that. That's
Okay.
that's what Raymore has, I believe.
Yeah.
So again, there's so many options out there. We can spend a lot of time trying to figure out what you guys want. It's ultimately what the city decides.
So is there any way to break it down in phases as like the grade work, like,
Yeah, the site planning, my recommendation is there should be a site plan done, because the flow of traffic, how many cars you want to park there, are we gonna have facilities, like is it restrooms, water, how much power? So that's the difficulty in it.
Would that start with, like grading, doing a parking lot first, and then down the road looking at a structure? Or
So that's the bad part, right? What I'm speaking of, you pay an engineer and architect, right? And they kind of come up with the plans. They tell you what elevation points to reach in a certain spot, and then you grade after you get the elevation plans.
Gotcha.
So
Did you ever find out if the gas tanks were ever removed?
The city administrator did find it, and it has been cleaned.
Okay, that's what I thought. So what would be the initial cost to just get an architect in
I
to
don't-
get,
Matt, do you?
okay.
It's changed so much over the years, I'd hate to speculate on it, honestly.
I don't know, that one just sounds really hard to move forward on because it is going to be more involved than some of the other.
So if you keep the scope small, right, it wouldn't cost as much. But if you're talking about potentially wanting to have off-season, out of farmer's market use, like a skating rink or something, and I didn't want to mention that to try to steer you that way. I just mentioned it so you have a broad idea.
Right.
It's more work for us, so I'm not trying to create more work. I'm just trying to literally give you guys the best information I can. So that would take a higher scope of design work. So that would increase the cost. If it's simply just trying to come up with a simple farmer's market that's strictly for the farmer program, not much outside of that, maybe some food trucks locations or something, I don't know, it would be a cheaper scope of work for sure. But you have a flow of traffic problem no matter what. You're close to the railroad tracks. Just off the cuff, I think you would do, if you're heading south, you would do a right turn in only. You wouldn't have that coming back out, or you'd have to use the street. You wouldn't want that as an exit. You'd just have it entrance only if you wanted to keep that. That's the other. I mean, do you want people to pull in and park and then kind of go visit the farmer's market, or you want them to drive right up to the farmer, basically like it is now? I think for safety-wise, you probably would change that and have it where you drive in and park. And
How far is that parking lot right next to it? That's next on the other side of railroad tracks? Is that like only a couple? Actually, no, I ran it. Like,
it was used heavily for the event just this week.
Mhm.
So
well, we have to, because I know that sidewalk's like an uneven slope hill, and there's like another divot there as well.
yeah, so I would recommend that, in the scope of work, if you're to have a majority of the parking somewhere else, you still provide some handicap parking there, because the wheelchair's not going to be easy to get over the tracks and from that gravel parking area back to the farmer's market.
Okay.
So what do we do from here on that? Do we?
Well, if you still want that as your top priority, then I think the recommendation from you guys would be that we move forward with some type of consulting architecture engineering firm, and then I work with the city administrator, and we get those numbers for the Board of Aldermen to proceed with something like that, or
Do we have to make a decision on that before we move to the playground shade and the dog park, or we talk about those first?
we can talk about all of them at the same time.
All right.
So the playground shade structures, this is another item that's kind of, if my memory serves me correct, you were speaking mostly of the existing playgrounds, the new ones that we just put in. So we're kind of limited on how much shade and how you can put the shade there, because if you come out into the play area, you can't have the play structure to where kids could jump from it onto the shade structure. So we'd have to be kind of strategic on where it's put. So it's typically would be a smaller, I say smaller, 16 by 16 feet or something like that, and if possible, there's like a 20 by 20. The things to remember on that cost. I'll put my readers back on if I can find them. I got this information on the cost today, so otherwise you would have had it. So I've been waiting for quite a while. The 16 by 16 is $21,000 installed cost. A 20 by 36 is 32,000. I don't think we have the space for that, so he was just quoting prices. And then another company, because I reached out to several companies, because this isn't to purchase, this is just, and so like here's a 16 by 16. It's kind of a cantilever.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So are we talking that we want it more over the play structure itself or over the benches for like parents sitting there watching this?
So the way I looked at the playground, it'd be more towards the benches, kind of away from the play feature. It kind of gets to where they're sitting, and then you get some of that, you'd get shade in the morning and shade in the evening. You wouldn't get any overhead unless you sat right underneath it or underneath the shade structure. It's kind of a challenging thing to do, but that play structure that was put in is so large, they don't really put a shade structure on it unless you go way up and way big, and they do that, but they're extremely expensive.
What size are the ones at the pool?
So the pool, that was 57,000 for those two, and that was what, is that 3 years now? 4 years ago, and so that cost has gone up as well. I think that's 40 feet. So each one of them are 20 feet. I have to get. I don't have the exact measurements on it, but we can still do a similar one as well as that, and that we install that ourselves. So
Yeah.
that cost you see here is pretty accurate, pretty competitive. So yeah, I would think that if you picked, you could probably do 2 of the smaller ones at the Webb and 2 of the smaller ones over at Frick. That's 4. If you budget for the install price, and then we have to get within the numbers, we could install it in-house depending on the situation.
If we did it at Frick, we would need benches. Too, 'cause there's no seating.
We need to add benches there anyway. And if you look at this, this has to sit outside a little bit of the curb that's around it anyway, so you kind of would be off. So then behind the pole, we'd probably pour an extra pad in. We could put a bench there. So we would try to make it look like it was meant to be there, not add it afterwards, and then have the seating make sense.
And I can't remember, do you take those down during the winter season at the pool?
Yes, we do.
So we would take them down in the wintertime here too?
Yes,
as well?
they don't hold up to snow and ice. They wear out rather fast that way, and the wind, so. They're nice. It is a maintenance nightmare, but it's nice.
Right. All right, and the last one was the dog park, like,
Dog park's a little bit difficult because its location. There's a little bit of, dog parks are still very popular. There's a lot of problems with dog parks. There's bites that happen. There's other issues. Again, we could come up with an area somewhere in the parks that we could just do a fenced-in area and call it an off-leash park and not really focus on putting a lot into it. So somebody that lives in an apartment, for example, could come to the park into this fenced-in area and just let their dog run. And we'd have to do the double gate system and stuff like that anyway. But if we keep it simple like that, it wouldn't cost much to put in. We would just have some discussion on where that location would be. And once that location's approved, then we could start working towards doing a perimeter fence. That would be on the cheap side. If you want to go more, then so again, it's the size that you want and then what amenities you want into it and stuff like that.
well, if we started with just a fenced-in area, is it something that can be added to later?
Yeah, you can add in amenities into it later for sure. And I would suggest we make the first large enough that we could then divide it, dissect it, where you have a smaller run for some smaller dogs. But yeah,
Was it originally the west side of the horse arena that we were looking at, Lower Frick?
yeah, because we have water over there, and that was was discussed. But there was other desires too, whether it was at Ben Oak or somewhere else. Really, we're open to wherever you guys think. It's closer to water and stuff like that would help. But
If it was at Lower Frick Park, how much space would that dog park take away from the tractor pool?
Well, you're going to lose parking, yeah. When it was an arena, small arena, we opened the gate and let the cars go inside to park. I don't think we'd want people doing that because they'd be parking and walking through potentially, dog messes. It's not like we'd go in there and clean it so people could park there. And when it was wet, we didn't park inside the arena. So that area that was there sometimes got used for parking, sometimes it was parked outside of it. So I would say on our busiest tractor pull event we ever had there, it was no effect by having the dog park there or the little arena.
What about out at Ben Oak, like before where you're pulling up to the field house?
Sure.
Like
yeah.
where the old driving range used to be? Like, I mean,
I think it'd be a good
somewhere
idea
like-
to, unless anybody's in a hurry, if a dog park is a priority, take our time on it, look at locations, and have a couple meetings so people could also come in and say what their thoughts are.
Would it be in the budget to do 2 dog parks in 2 separate locations?
Typically, it's based off need, right? You don't, like pickleball, for example, we put 1 court in, and then we stripe the tennis courts for pickleball, and we constantly having more people wish we had more pickleball courts. And perfect example, you could put pickleball at Frick Park, where we're talking about putting a dog park, and we'd have a lot of use with the pickleball court. Probably more so than what a dog park would be. There's a lot of people who go to the ball fields to let their dogs run, and they shut the gates behind them, and we haven't had any problems. Is it preferred? No, but at the same time, we don't have a dog park, and so we accommodate that type of use for our citizens.
I myself like the area of Lower Frick Park just because it being closer to town where more people have access to it.
We have a lot of people currently using it for they're walking their dogs, and there's some people that come there for we have a leash law, but it's a trained dog that he does fetch and retrieve with, and but yeah, there's a lot of people that go to it and use it for.
There's a lot of people that go to Frick Park and let their dog off the leash while kids are there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I see it a lot.
Yeah.
How many fields we have on that side over there at Frick Park?
Well, originally there was 4 full-size fields, right? And then it's changed to where it's 2 full-size on the upper, and then there's smaller fields down low because the playground took up some of that space. And then it's really 4 full-size fields wasn't meeting the needs of the league. So really, this younger age groups were more abundant than the older kids.
Is there do we have like an ordinance or a requirement of how far the actual dog park has to be away from a children's playground? Or
So when you go to build a dog park, it's your job. If you're putting a dog park in, you're doing the safety measures to have the multiple gates so you're not having the chance of a dog getting off. So if it's installed properly, you're meeting that need. My first comment about dog parks do create issues. They do happen. Even when we follow all the safety protocols, naturally more people will be bringing their dogs to the park that don't normally bring their dogs to the park, and you'll have the social problems that will come up, and that's when bites occur. I don't think there's a dog park out there that had some type of either dog fight or
Yeah.
someone got bit from trying to break up the dogs.
inevitable.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking because we have that water fountain over there. Where's a dog water fountain at Frick Park?
Yeah.
Frick Park.
Right, and that needs to get replaced. It's
That
bad
wouldn't be-
shape.
That wouldn't be to just up and move it.
Well, we're going to have to replace that drinking fountain anyway. I don't know if that's location's fine. I do believe soccer's and football, for example, this year football used more that facilities over there. I don't know about the old little arena, how often that area is getting used, or even when you come in off a cemetery, there's that nice flat area that's right there that could also be used as the dog park location.
Will we have to put lights there at night, or put a sign that no dusk to dawn, nobody there at nighttime, or?
Yeah, it's preferred that we, just like the rest of our parks that aren't with lights, that it's the dawn to dusk.
Is there a spot up at the old Frick Park that wouldn't interfere with the disc golf course?
It'd be on the other side. You could potentially, you're getting closer to houses. So that's a consideration to take into. It might be best to ponder more on it, and if the dog park's what you want, because it's just, is there a sense of urgency to try to get it done right away? There's a lot of things that are coming up, and if you're looking at 4 shade structures on your for the playgrounds, you're almost $100,000. I'd have no idea what's available in the budget-wise to go, but this sounds to me like the dog park's one of those items at the end of the year. There's some remaining money that's available, and the dog park has been talked out, thought out, and we have a solid location, the dimensions. We could start with the cost of the fence.
And we tore down that whole playground up there, did we not, at Upper Frick Park?
Yeah, it wasn't very big.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's very sloped. So
And the restroom is still open up there, isn't it?
it is, yep.
And the pavilion still?
Pavilion's still there as
people
well,
Still use that, and it's
Uh-huh.
parking.
Have water.
and a
And-
neighbor's livestock.
Yeah.
The neighbor has livestock,
You gotta educate me a little bit more on that. Dogs and
cattle,
livestock.
horses.
That was a start
Yeah.
home.
It's not a good
Not a good
mix
combo.
unless they no longer have cattle up there anymore.
Yeah.
But it's probably, my recommendation is everybody should look at the parks, kind of visualize what you think, best location. We talk about it more.
Should we put a pin in this?
Yeah, I definitely would prefer some type of recommendation for budgeting on,
The lowest hanging fruit to me is the shade structure, and then figure out something that we can do to farmer's market with like an architectural plan or whatever it is that you guys said, to at least look at it, what it'll be, and take it from there.
Or maybe have numbers on that the next time?
Yeah, I think we kind of found out the priority to us in general is gonna be the farmer's market. And then we don't know, kind of the scope of what that's gonna cost budget-wise. I don't think it'd be wise to go ahead and commit to doing shade structures in Chalk Park until we kind of determine that in the farmer's market, especially since we don't know the budget yet.
yeah, it's kind of the cart and the horses, right? So
Yeah.
we have to have something to give the board of aldermen the idea of what some projects' potentials are. The board sets the projects for the year. So even with like the shade structures, and if there's the 4, I think 4 would probably really do a lot. 2 at the one in Webb and 2 over at Frick, you're 80,000 minimum on that. I'm guessing 30,000 probably gets some type of architecture design or something. I don't know for sure. I'm just pulling a number out, but that's just kind of get your mind around what the potential could look like. That you're easily at 120,000 on those 2 projects.
See, I don't think we need anything, I know everybody might want something fancy at the farmer's market, but I mean, it's just a place to make it easier for people to come in, park their trucks, set up a shop, and people just stop and get stuff and then keep it moving, maybe some shade. I mean, I don't think it's not that big of a space in the area right now. We probably get like maybe 1 or 2 trucks there every so often to set up.
And I thought that, I can't go back to that, and my mind goes all the way around. Just to be honest with you, I know when you come into our town, right, you get past like the Quick Trips and the gas stations, and you're coming into our downtown, that's going to be kind of a marquee of our downtown. And so you have the potential of making our town look a little different.
Yeah.
So that's my 2
But
cents.
to maybe start with, the engineer and then maybe, grading or, get a parking lot maybe figured out and, then maybe go from there or something.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
shooting for having something that has a skating rink in it.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need a skating rink.
Yeah.
I do like the
that's-
idea of being used for multiple use.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
that's
And the
cool.
fact that's right there on Main Street as well, or Broadway, excuse me. The fact that's right there and easily visible, multiple uses throughout the year will be very valuable, I think.
And it would be good to have the chamber's input
Yeah.
right? Because they're the ones that's currently working with the vendors, setting it up, managing it, doing all that. So they might have a lot to say on what they would like to see.
And I'll hate to mention the O word, but Odessa, they have theirs where when the farmer's not there, they got a food truck there, they got a couple benches there, they got some planters with flowers there, and just,
Right.
and most of them part, I think a lot of people just walk up into it from downtown. So I agree.
Somebody want to make a motion on those two?
Anybody want to make a motion?
Good.
I'll go on motion for the farmer's market.
Do we have a second?
A motion to get the architectural,
Yeah, at least start the plans, start taking a closer look at that.
All right.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next,
Who was this? Dana, Mississippi.
oh,
Shade structures.
So is that possible to do that as well? Like look at, you know, some shade structures and
I
then
think if that's your number two,
possibly moving
then
forward with the
least,
farmer's
yeah,
market
and then
too?
that way the board knows if that's
Right.
what you're wanting.
we got a
I
motion.
think it
We
would
got
be
a,
good to have
do we need to add that to the motion too?
Is that a separate motion or?
Yeah, I believe it'd be good to have as a
I'll
clean.
motion for the playground shade structures, the 4 individual 16 by 16 at 2 separate parks.
Perfect. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed?
Take it.
Motion passes. All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF grant.
So this, we're currently writing a grant. We would have gone in more detail on it at the last meeting, but since it's got pushed to this date. The board has already approved a resolution moving forward for the grant application. It consists mainly of adding pathways and trails in Webb Park that are ADA and ABA compliant. It will replace the swing set, the fall zone material. It'll add some inclusive play features. So still working the budgets, but it's a 50-50 match. So if the total project cost is, say, $400,000, that's $200,000 that would be city's responsibility in 2027. I know, I can tell you that the swing set area and all the poured-in-place rubber is already going to be $150,000 just for that. So when you put the poured-in-place rubber underneath swings, it gets really expensive, just because it's thicker. So I'm still working the cost on everything else. It is, the grant's huge. With the federal government shutdown, there's things that we're not getting reports back from the government on, so we are working through those details as well as some title issues and some other things. The connectivity will have paths that go from the swing structure that'll get you to shelter 2. It'll get you up to the restroom facility, all handicapped accessible, and then to the parking lots. And then we'll have parking that's designated for handicapped that's close to the playgrounds, that's properly painted. Anybody have any questions on the grant?
I think that's great. When's the turnaround time, like when do you hear something?
The turnaround time, so we have to have it submitted by November 14th. So I don't know how long it takes them to award or deny, but once you make it through phase 1, then there's a second step where you go in front of another review, and then you have to get the work completed. So it'd be 2027. In some cases, they allow up to 2028, so 2 years to complete. And this project wouldn't take that. We'd get it done in 2027.
Okay.
It helps that we haven't wrote a grant in that park. They do kind of block you out. If you've done an LWCF in a particular park, it's kind of blocked out for 10 years. So that's a good thing. That's also kind of a new thing since the last time I wrote the grants. And there's a lot more new than ever before as well, so.
Is there a limitation in how often it can be used? Not just on individual park, but maybe per town?
No, we can write on other areas of parks. You typically get one grant per cycle, but in like next year, or that we could write a grant for a different park. But you'd have to have a totally different scope and prove there's a huge justifying need to have another LWCF grant within that 10 years at the same park. They don't want to put all the funds into one. They're limited funds, and you're competing all with the entire nation. And then it spreads out to each state. I'd have to double check this, but it used to be Kansas City, St. Louis got 50% of those funds immediately. Then the remaining 50%, every city, school, county can compete for the remaining 50%, including Kansas City and St. Louis. So it gets very competitive. There's a lot to it. So.
Well, I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you for handling it. We appreciate that. Anybody have any other questions towards that? Concerns? All right. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is a presentation by Little League Football and Tractor Pull Organization representatives.
Coach, you want to come up?
Yep. Come on up. Yes, sir.
Okay, basically, I'm Wayne McGinnis, Commissioner of the Youth Football League. We have 200 kids that play football. And there's 4 flag teams that play on Sunday nights up at the high school stadium, and then there's 5 teams that play tackle, and they play at the high school stadium on Saturdays, or they play in towns throughout. We were fortunate this year. Well, we were unfortunate at the beginning because we didn't have a place to practice. Fortunately, I went to Scott and Dana and asked to use Frick Park because they took away the middle school. You probably saw they put a bunch of dirt in and leveled it off, and this got grass on it and everything, and it's going to be nice. But that was 2 of our teams practiced there, and then they didn't have a practice area. So he offered Frick Park, and we went out there and used the lower fields at Frick Park for 2 of our teams, and our second grade has always practiced out there. So we had 3 teams practicing, or actually all 5 teams practicing out there. Well, I'm sorry, 3 teams, because our 5th grade and our 6th grade practice at the high school practice field. So needless to say, when it gets into October, what happens to our kids is it gets dark. So if you've had kids that played football, they push the practice times up more so they can get more time in, because it gets dark at 6:30 and they can't practice. So I went to Scott this year. I should have gone sooner, and I asked him if we could use the fields at Webb Park, Field 1 and 2, and use the lights for just the month of October, because that's the period of time we get into the playoffs. Our teams in the past, they've just canceled practice. I felt concerned for parents, because we're saying, okay, bring your kids to practice at 5. Well, kids and parents are working. They can't do that, and it was so difficult on families. So because of their efforts to basically help us, we were able to practice out there. I gave them the dates. There was a couple of conflicts. We worked the conflicts through the high school, but we got all the dates practiced in, and it really helped us a bunch. So we thank you for that.
Well, and I'd like to thank them too, because they literally pick up the grounds. They did an amazing job picking up after their practices, and little to no impact to the parks.
And they better.
Yep.
There's a lot. There are some things that I expect. Okay, I have 45 coaches, and my expectations are extremely high. I coached for 30 years, and I've been doing this for a long time. Nobody wants my job.
You can't give it away.
You're too good at it.
No.
Truth.
But I'm trying to pay off $500 for seed to help put back on the fields. So that's why I'm here.
Wow,
And I,
that's nice.
That's all I have.
as a park director, just so, I appreciate the gesture, but I truly believe the responsibility of the Parks Department is having a place for youth to play. Grass, good conditions, good facilities is their responsibility. And I think anything we can do to help the leagues, especially by not them having to pay for grass seed or stuff like that. So if I was to give a recommendation, I truly thank you, Coach, and it's ultimately the board's decision, but I think service he's providing, what he does for this town is drastically exceeds.
Great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's nothing that you haven't offered to other Little League teams?
Correct, right, yeah,
Throughout, so,
right.
I mean, it's just another,
We would like to improve finding, I like solving problems, so if there's an issue that we can make better, then that's what we want to work through and improve to our youth leagues.
Yeah, respectfully, we decline, Coach Mack. Your services are amazing. Your mentorship. I have 2 kids in football. You have been a ringleader this season with having to go with the flow and move things around and manage where every team's going to go in circumstances that you couldn't have planned for with all the construction and even with flag. We're used to practicing right next to the high school. That those fields are no longer available. They're fenced off. So you've done an amazing job, and I feel like the seed week, the park can take care of.
Well, one of the things I want to emphasize to you is that we're the lowest, our parents pay the lowest fee of all the teams. People pay $400 and $500. We pay $175, and we squeeze every dime out of it. 22 years ago, when I started, the cost of a helmet was $27. Today they quoted me $195,
wow.
and I have to buy 36.
Wow.
So it's getting to a point, that it's critical. But I don't keep a helmet any longer than 8 years. They say it's a 10-year life. I don't keep them longer than 8 because I worry about the interior. And I spend 2 weeks every year at a reconditioning plant, just reconditioning helmets to see how to do this and to learn this stuff. So my emphasis is safety.
We appreciate that. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Good evening. My name's Lee McAllister. I'm the president of Elk Grove Tractor Pullers. Every year before the pull, Scott and his crew do an excellent job of readying that arena for us to move in and do what we do one night a year. And because of that, the Tractor Pullers are going to make a $500 donation this year to the Parks and Rec Department. So this is nothing you can turn down. We're going to give it to you whether you like it or not. So, but we appreciate all their hard work that's always ready to go. And if for anyone that doesn't know what the tractor pull does, each year we have 3 organizations that it benefits. The Boy Scouts here, or the Scout Troop now here in Oak Grove, they park all of our cars, and afterwards they camp in the park across the street. They get up on Sunday morning and they police the entire park. The Little League Wrestling, they take all the money at the gates, and then the Booster Club, the Athletic Booster Club, runs our concession stands. And what we do each year, the money we make, we take out X amount of dollars to pay for the next year's pull, and whatever is left, we divide equally between those 3 organizations. But this year, we felt it necessary to pass along some of our funds to the Parks Department, so.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
I believe in the past, and Lee could probably answer this, it was different organizations that worked the tractor pull. I think originally it started Little League Baseball or something like
Yes,
that.
it started as a fundraiser for Little League Baseball.
And then leagues go up and down, right? And so you got different people volunteering, and at one time, Little League Baseball said, no, we don't want to work it anymore, offer it to another youth league, and then that's where the volunteers came from somebody else. We've never been a part of that. We're not a part of requesting funds from anybody in this. Why both organizations came on the same, no idea. But in the past, the tractor pull has donated, and it typically was marked for some type of project or an improvement to the facility. One of them was the sound system that's out there. They don't use that. The DJ likes to use their own sound system. And so, but at one time it was used. It's used by the other users, that like the horse associations, when they have an event. So it still benefits out there. Just off the top of my head, a new flagpole would be a good start to use at the arena for.
Which is your all's discretion, so.
That would be awesome.
So
Thank you. I agree with that. To see the money kept wherever it was raised, if you can still use it in that area, that would be great.
Well, I'm just happy that the park's just getting the recognition that they deserve for all the hard work that you guys do. It, to me, it just shows that you don't have to control an organization to contribute to it. And you guys go above and beyond to always help out, no matter what the situation is, to do something to help. And that's what makes Oak Grove better. So I appreciate you guys doing that. As to you guys both as well, because we all take part of your organizations too. And I know both of you guys, and you guys both really go above and beyond to do what you do. I mean, I see Coach Mack out there every day, you know, cleaning up the football field, even the Panther Stadium on Friday nights, cleaning out trash, you know, and the same thing with leading the tractor pull people. They out there cleaning, helping out, and contribute everything. So I think just showing how you can just work together and coexist together and still help everybody out, I think that's a very good thing, and I appreciate you guys for doing that.
well, we appreciate them and you guys, so thank you.
Perfect. All right, before I get teary-eyed, is there a park board director report?
I've got a lot, unfortunately, to go through. ARPA funds are still potentially available, so if that was to happen, there's the potential for the restroom to go in at Frick. There's also, if you remember the projects, the Frick Park restroom by the playground equipment, and then the Davis Center exercise facility. Hopefully that happens, and we don't have a timeline of any type on it, so.
Is that the one done with the Eagle Scout?
That was the funds that, back with COVID, they went to the county. We applied for it as a grant. We made it through, it was approved, and then Frank White stopped it. And now I believe it's potentially available. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do want you guys to know that it is a potential. The fireworks was going to be discussed prior to the board meeting. That was approved by the board last meeting. We spent a lot of time analyzing the fireworks by both companies. I'm happy to share with you a detailed report. The Board of Aldermen went with our recommendation with Premier, the same company that was before. They've removed the water cake that caused the issue before. They launched it 240 additional times and couldn't get it to malfunction, but they said, we're not messing with it. So they've pulled that feature from their show and don't even order that product anymore. There will be one water cake feature still, the traditional one everybody's seen before, but there'll only be one. They're not going to go do much more than that. Next year's show is the 250-year celebration of our country, so it is a larger show. It's going to be a very impressive show. There's going to be at least two 12-inch cakes, which are not cakes, two 12-inch shots. So that's the really big shell. It's going to be longer. There's going to be more to it. It's going to be a very impressive show for next year. You have any questions on that? I will say that the company that wasn't nominated or recommended did an outstanding job. They made it very difficult for us to pick. We spent a lot of time, a lot of questions back and forth, and we tried to make the best decision we could as a recommendation to the board. So very happy that they provided a bid as well. The third company that we thought would put a bid in did not. So
Good deal.
does anybody have any questions on the fireworks? The trail extension project that's expected to start 1st of November. I'm trying as hard as I can to get them to go as quickly as possible. Well, hopefully that stays the same. And it's the same for the HVAC system at the Davis Center. That's supposed to be the 1st of November. We're working hard to get those done. Ideally, we're able to get the Webb Park Trail extension done and the weather holds and we can get it paved. So that's still a goal for this year. Does anybody have any questions on those items? Or
That was the Eagle Scout one, right? No?
It's on my list here too.
Yeah,
to
just
speak.
make sure. Yeah.
So we're expected delivery of the product anytime. So once that product comes in, the Eagle Scouts, they're going to be helping us get the site prepped for it, contacting DigRite. We will then install, and then we'll pour the concrete pad. So it won't take very long, but there will be some initial steps. And Elizabeth, she's helping with the sign to get made. So
And where was that going again? Just curious.
basically at the parking lot where the start of the trail that just went in, that's so to the south of that trail. So as you walk up to the trail, it'll be over to the left, and it'll have kind of a little workout, little stretching area with the sign that says what it's for, before you get to the swings and all that area.
And whatever happened to that group that came in and presented like the hidden treasure?
Geocaching.
The geocaching,
Jacking,
we've
yeah.
got several geocaching spots in the park, so our parks are all over. There's stuff hidden in the parks everywhere. So that's up and running.
Oh, nice.
I think we had, 2 or 3 more requests just recently, so I don't have a total for you. We do see, so if you see people in the park and they're with their phone walking around, that's what they're doing, they're geocaching. It's kind of it's just another thing for people to do. They're out exercising, they're moving around. It's another eye in the park to help see when something's going on that shouldn't be going on, so we welcome it. There's been 0 issues so far with it, so it's been fine.
Like poke hunting.
Who knew?
Let's see, there's a couple of
do it?
additional HVAC issues. As far as budgeting, the animal control facility is another facility that has a very aged HVAC system that needs to be updated, so that's another item that may be getting put into the budget for next year. But
Is that the
that's-
old police station?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yes, it is.
Depending on situation, we also are still looking at we've gotten 2 bids. The Geyer Fence just does not want to put a bid in for some reason, I don't understand, but that's the fence in the containers over there at Frick Park. So depending on how the budget works out this year, you may see that work happening sooner, or it may be in next year's budget.
And that's for extra containers at Frick Park?
Yes.
Fencing around it.
Okay.
And Dana has a report to add too, as well. We got this weekend's event coming up with the barbecue.
Yeah, just a quick reminder that this Saturday, November 1st, is the Trunk or Treat event at Ben Oak Park. It's the first one that we've done, so we're hopeful that we get a good turnout, and it's really exciting because it's going to be hosted in a partnership with that Kansas City Barbecue Society event going on out there that weekend. So again, it's a chance for kids to dress up in their costumes one more time, come out and get some more candy. There'll also be some food trucks out there to get some yummy food from, and then obviously parents and kids, if they wish to, can look at the professional barbecue equipment, ask questions, talk to the people that compete and travel, and you might even be able to talk to people that are from the other side of the world, because there's people coming from all the continents like to come and compete in this competition, so it's pretty cool. We do have, where's my notes? The OG Bandits is the barbecue truck that's going to be there. Tacos El Sombrero will be there. 451 Pizza, and then Chelsea's Cake Collection will also be there with desserts and such. So, good selection of food. The food part starts at 6 o'clock, and then the trunk or treating will start at 7 out there.
Thank you.
Then a couple of final things. Back to Little League football, scheduling of the facilities. There was a conflict this year because we had girls softball, fall softball that was going on. Then we also had a middle school softball team that was started to request field use. So we had to juggle the fields around to accommodate the additional request, and then we had rainouts. And something's often overlooked, towards the end of the year, concessions is difficult to stock two concessions. So we try to move everything to into the complex when at all possible. If there's no high school game, we won't play there because then we're not trying to move some product up to 1 and 2 that doesn't have enough games to keep the food fresh. And we don't want to overstock and have to throw away a lot of supplies. So that creates some conceptions that we are catering to a certain league or something else. When in reality, it's that we're trying to provide the best concession service that we can, also not duplicate staff. We don't want to have 2 concessions running, duplicate staff, and there's just one game on one field here and one game down there. So it becomes a little bit of a challenging, a juggling act, but it's not, that's all it has to deal with, is why things get moved around. We recognize that it does create problems for people to think we're playing on field 1 and then they show up to the park and they're on field 6, for example. So we try not to ever have that happen, but it did happen a couple times this year where there had to be some late calls to get things moved. Then the last thing I was to discuss was November and December. It's typically the months where the park board is as needed, meets as needed. So we could wait to see if something's pressing to call for a meeting, or we can schedule the meeting and continue forward, or it's whatever you guys think. If something comes up, we then could send out a meeting request to see if anybody can meet on a specific date. But since it's getting close to the holiday months, we've got your budgeted request. It's really the legwork of the Board of Aldermen to move forward.
I'm all for taking a break.
We don't have to do a motion on that.
No,
That's just the status quo.
Okay, so if something comes up and it looks like we need a meeting, we'll send out the information. Otherwise, there won't be a meeting for November or December.
Perfect.
That's it for me. I hope-
Good, thank you.
Wasn't so long.
Is there a liaison report? Nope. Are there any board member reports? I always say that wrong, don't I? Yeah, whatever.
No, I was just laughing. They were like, nope.
All right. Oh, never mind. Are there any board member reports? All right. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. If all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.